Okay, so what we're going to do is start learning about systems by actually graphing the system, and I want to show you what the solution to the system actually looks like. So we're just going to type in what we were given, y equals negative 1/2 x minus 3. And then you see there's the line. And then we got y equals 1/2 x, positive 1/2 x, plus 1. The solution to the system is where these lines cross. See that right there? That is the solution to the system. So what is the solution to the system of linear equations? Yeah. What we want to say is where the two lines cross. Okay, Leilani? Where the two lines cross. So up on the top of your paper, above where it says Morelli Math, let's write this. Goal. Okay, what is our goal? What is our goal with this activity? We're trying to find the point of intersection. Okay? Now, sometimes there is no intersection. And sometimes there are an infinite number of intersections, and we'll talk about those extreme cases. But normal, everyday system of equation problems look like that, where they cross at one point and one point only. Okay. So let's take a look at number 1. Let's learn how would we solve it if you didn't have Desmos to just plug it in. So let's take a look at number 1. And I'm going to write the problem, and then below, y'all write the solution down below the answer choices here. You don't have to write this part. Y equals negative 1/2 x minus 3, and y equals 1/2 x plus 1. And we're going to say goodbye to Mr. Marker here. He's gone. This is better. Okay, so how do we solve this without a machine? Well, notice something. This says y equals, and then the second equation also says y equals. Yeah. Let me show you what I mean. So here's the logic behind this. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. Does that make sense? If A equals B, yeah, please write this down. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. Do you remember this property of math from your younger years? Okay, this is called the transitive property. You know, like we got the commutative property, the distributive property, the properties of equality that we learned. This is a transitive property. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. I'll give you a more concrete example. If Brody is the same age as Mario, and Mario is the same age as Shannon, then Brody is the same age as Shannon. Do you get it? Oh. You see what I'm saying? You know, if cornflakes cost as much as Apple Jacks, and Apple Jacks cost as much as Raisin Bran, then cornflakes cost as much as Raisin Bran. All right? So now let's apply it to this situation. If y equals negative 1/2 x minus 3, and y equals 1/2 x plus 1, then this y equals this, too. These are equal to one another. So all of these things equal one another. So here's what we do to solve. Okay? So here's the solution part. We set the top equation equal to the bottom equation without the y's. So you're gonna set the top equation equal to the bottom equation. Watch. So you have negative 1/2 x minus 3 equals 1/2 x plus 1. Now, all we're doing in this part of the problem is we're solving for x. So let me show you that process here. I prefer to not have negatives, right? I like to keep things simple. Negatives start to confuse people. So I'm going to make this negative go away by adding 1/2 x to both sides. That's going to be my first move. If you had chosen to instead subtract 1/2 x from over here, it would be fine, but you'd have a negative. So now, additive inverse, these cancel, right? So now you have negative 3 on the left equals, well, half plus half equals 1. So 1x plus 1, which is just x plus 1. They'll tell me if I'm going too fast. Now I've got one step to get x by itself. If I added 3 on both sides, there you go. Subtract 1 from both sides. Okay? So over here, these are additive inverses, plus minus, they cancel out. Now I have x on the right equals negative 4. Okay? Now, if that's only half of the answer. So remember, the answer to the question is a coordinate pair. So we found negative 4. You see, we found the x value. How do we find the y value? Here's what you do. You plug it in, okay? So we're going to take negative 4. We're going to plug it back in to one of these equations. Which one looks easier, the top or the bottom? Bottom, yes. It doesn't matter which one you choose. It will work for both. So now we're going to take negative 4, and we're going to replace that x with the negative 4 and solve this equation for y. So now I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to write y equals 1/2, open parentheses, negative 4, close parentheses, plus 1. This negative 4 is what we found. So now that gives me y equals 1 over 2 times negative 4 over 1 plus 1. Remember, when you're doing fractions, multiplying, you multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. So I've got y equals 1 times negative 4 is negative 4, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1. Well, negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. So I have y equals negative 2 plus 1. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1, so y equals negative 1. So now I have found the y value. Now I have the x value, and I have the y value. My answer must be given in the form of a coordinate pair. So I do x comma y. So I put my x first, which would be negative 4, comma my y, which is negative 1. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the answer to the question. Negative 4 comma negative 1. Let me get out of the way. Take 5 minutes and work with a person next to you on number 3. Number 3. Yeah. Work together. Okay. Number 3. It's the same as number. It's the same process. Number 1.
Oh, the same.
Yeah. Just follow the steps we just did.
I hope that's what we do. There are no numbers though. It should be one. Number 3. One equals. Wait, is it real one actually? Is it? Just the one. I'll be a single. Oh yeah. Wait. I'm and then you got y equals we know there's no y. It's just I would make it sense too.
You're welcome. I'm coming around with a bucket of chocolate-based candies. You guys are working great. Just keep working for another 90 seconds, and we'll work it out together. And see how you did.
Did you put another? Oh yeah, you already put another one.
Oh. What happened was, that'll be, yeah, that'll be.
So what?
Negative. This is gonna get you out. So.
Three plus one. No, three plus.
Yeah, three.
Three plus so one two one
Partnership.
What?
we hope.
Who are we?
Y'all stuck.
Hey, front row, a little bit real quick. I gotta get a chocolate candy. There's the one.
But it's
All right. Great job, guys. We're gonna bring it up here and we'll work it out together. Just correct any mistakes you made. I heard everyone working on task. That's the point. Okay, number 3, ladies and gentlemen. Number 3. So we were given y equals negative x plus 1 and y equals 1/2 x plus 4. Remember, if Jeremiah is as old as Charvin and Charvin is as old as Tabitha, then Jeremiah is as old as Tabitha. So if y equals negative x plus 1 and y equals 1/2 x plus 4, then I can say negative x plus 1 equals 1/2 x plus 4. So I'm going to write that as my first step. I'm going to write negative x plus 1 equals 1/2 x plus 4. Now, as a teacher of math, I can see a potential problem ahead of time, right? Like a train, I can hear the horn. I see I've got a fraction over here with my x, but over here, Mr. X doesn't have a fraction. And I see that this fraction has a base of denominator of 2. So look what I'm going to do here. Watch. I'm going to write negative 2 over 2x. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stick that in because we know 2 over 2 is just 1, but it's going to allow me to interact with this fraction here. Okay, so this is going to make your life a lot easier. Now, very well. So here's the solution. Ready? Step 1, add 2 over 2x to both sides. So I'm going to just, to be real clear here, this is the addition property of equality. Number 8, we learned this when we first started this whole class. These are additive inverses on the left. So these go away, or they're 0 anyway. So I just have 1 equals 1 over 2 plus 2 over 2 is 3 over 2. So I'm going to put 3 over 2x plus 4. Now I want to get the big numbers together, okay? So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, like this. If this was the addition property of equality, this must be the subtraction property of equality, SPE. That's a justification for this step, all right? Over here, now I've got an additive inverse, so I know I can cancel. And I've got 3 over 2x. I'm kind of writing this backwards, right? Equals 1 minus 4 is negative 3, okay? 1, take away 4. This is my bank balance. I got $1 in the bank. I put $4 on the debit card. Now I'm overdrafted $3, right? So now, how do I make this 3 over 2 go away? It's the reciprocal. Multiply both sides by the reciprocal. Remember? Just flip it. Keep, flip, change. KFC. So 3 over 2, the reciprocal would be 2 over 3, right? So I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by 2 over 3. So if this was the addition property of equality, this is subtraction property of equality, this is the multiplication property of equality, MPE. It could also be called the division property of equality, but we're going to call it the multiplication property of equality. So notice something. I have a 3 on the top and a 3 on the bottom, and I'm multiplying. I can cancel, cancel, 2 and 2, cancel, cancel. Now I've got x by itself equals. Now I have to deal with this situation. Well, lo and behold, I've got a fraction multiplied by a whole number. That's not allowed. So I'm going to turn this negative 3 into a fraction by drawing a bar and putting a 1. Okay. So now I'm going to multiply across the top and across the bottom. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. 3 times 1 is 3. So it's negative 6 over 3 equals x. But we know that negative 6 over 3 is just a fancy way of saying negative 2. Because 6 divided by 3 is 2. And negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. So I found x, or we found x, is equal to negative 2. I'll write it where the camera can see it. X equals negative 2. Remember, we're just halfway there. Okay? That was Bon Jovi. Now my video here will get a copyright strike and a DMCA takedown notice. So Bon Jovi's going to get the ad revenue for this video. But now what do I do with this? I do the Glade commercial. Plug it in. Okay, plug it into one of these equations. Which one do you want to use? Top with no fractions or bottom with this nightmare? Top? Okay. So I'm going to go over here. We can just do this somewhere, anywhere. I'm going to write y equals negative, open parentheses, negative 2. Yep. Plus 1. And a negative, look, I'm really multiplying this negative in here. So a negative times a negative is a positive. So a negative times a negative 2 just gives me 2 plus 1. Big brain, 2 plus 1 equals 3. So if we did this right, x equals negative 2, y equals 3. So this line should intersect at negative 2, comma 3. Now, how to check our work is to go to Desmos and check it by typing in the original equations and seeing if they cross at negative 2, comma 3. So I'm going to type in y equals negative x plus 1 and y equals 1/2 x plus 4. Let's see. Does it cross at negative 2, comma 3?
Yes.
Neat. All right. That's it. You did it. I'm going to cut it there. You paid attention and you did good work. Good job.